Hello everybody, namaskaram to all the beautiful people out there. Hope you guys are doing amazingly well. Welcome back to another lesson of English with Ashish. And guys, in today's lesson, we are going to master causative verbs. So we'll understand what causative verbs are, different types of causative verbs, in how to use them in sentences, right? So the lesson is going to be amazing, it's going to be informative, it's going to be interesting. Make sure you watch it until the end. If you guys are new to the channel, haven't subscribed to it, make sure you do that. Press that notification button as well. I'm excited, I know you guys are too. Let's do it. Alright everybody, the very first thing we'll do is we'll understand what exactly causative verbs are. Just look at the word causative. Something that causes something, right? So causative verbs, as the name goes, are verbs that indicate that a person causes another person to do an action for them or somebody else. This is what a causative verb does. All right, so you can cause somebody or someone to do something by requesting the person or forcing the person or ordering the person or coaxing the person or asking the person or convincing the person. All right, so the most common causative verbs in English are have, let, get and make. These are the most common causative verbs we have in English, right? Apart from these verbs, we have some other verbs as well. We'll look at them as well. All right, so let's start with the very first verb, which is make. Make as a causative verb means to force or pressurize someone to do something. When you make somebody do something, you pressurize or force the person to do that action or to do something. All right, look at the structure. A causative verbs has the following structure. First comes the subject, second the verb, the causative verb, and it can come in all the tense forms. All right, followed by the person that performs the action, followed by a bare infinitive, a verb in the base form. Let's look at some examples and understand it. We did not have money to pay them, so they made us clean the dishes. We did not have money to pay them, so they made us. They followed by the causative verb made, past form of make. They made us do something. They made us what? Clean the dishes. All right, so we did not have money to pay them, that is why they made us, they forced us, they pressurized us to do something, to clean the dishes. They made us clean the dishes, right? So here made is the causative verb, the past form of make, and it's forcing us to do something. It's forcing us to clean the dishes. All right, another example. She made me take up this course. I was never up for this. She made me do something. She made me take up this course. I was never ready for it. I was never excited about it, but she made a person do something. She made Ashish take up this course. She made me take up this course. All right, so the causative verb is always followed by a person that performs an action. All right, in the active voice. In the passive voice, the structure is going to be different. We'll talk about the passive structure as well. Okay, let's take another example. My brother always makes me clean his room. My brother always makes me clean his room. So in the first two examples, the verb is in the past form, and here in this example, the verb is in the simple present tense. My brother always makes me clean his room. Makes me do something, clean his room. Let's take another example. You should make him pay for your loss. You should make Rahul pay for your loss. You should make somebody do something. You should make him pay for your loss. So you can use a modal auxiliary verb before the causative verb like we just did in here. All right, so this is how we use make, all right, to force somebody or to pressurize somebody to do something. Okay, here's the next verb, let. Let as a causative verb means to allow or give permission or permit someone to do something. And here's the structure. First comes the subject, followed by the causative verb let, and it can come in all the tenses, all the forms, followed by the person that you allow, followed by the activity that you allow him to do. All right, and this activity has to be in the base form, bare infinitive. Okay, let's take some examples and understand this. He never lets me touch his phone. He never lets me touch his phone. He, the subject, never an adverb of frequency followed by the causative verb, that is lets. He never lets whom? Me, right? The person that does the action, he never lets me what? Do something, that is touch his phone, which is an infinitive here. Touch is an infinitive, bare infinitive, a verb in the base form. He never lets me touch his phone. He never lets me do something. What? Touch his phone. Okay, another example. My father does not let us watch TV after dinner. My father does not let us, let whom? Let us do something. What is that? Watch TV after dinner. My father does not let us watch TV after dinner. Another example. I will never let her go there. I will never allow her do something, go there. I will never let her, let a person. I will never let you, I will never let Shruti do something, go there. I can use a modal auxiliary verb here as well. You should never let her eat this, or you should never let her talk to them or go there. Okay. Sometimes the subject of the causative verb is implied, which is you. So sometimes you'll not have a subject of the causative verb. All right, let me show you some examples. Let me handle this. Let me handle this. Here we do have a subject, but that is implied. That is not explicit. The subject is you. You let me handle this. You let me handle this, right? Please let us go. Please let us go. You please let us go. The subject is implied, which is you. So this is how we use the verb let, right? To allow or permit someone to do something. The next verb is have. Have as a causative verb means to ask or instruct somebody to do an action, to do something, right? And here's the structure in the active form. Subject followed by the causative verb have, and it can come in all the tenses, followed by a person, that could be a name of a person or an objective pronoun, followed by the action that the person does, right? It's a verb in the base form, right? Bare infinitive. Let's take some examples and understand this. I will have the man repair my bike tomorrow. I will have the man repair my bike tomorrow. I will make the man repair my bike tomorrow. So I'll not force the person to do it. I'll ask him to do it, but he doesn't have much of a choice, to be honest. I'm going to pay him to do that. So you're politely asking the person to do it. You're not forcing or pressurizing the person to do it, but the person actually doesn't have much of a choice. The person has to do it, right? So it's less straightforward, but the person is going to do the action. All right, I will have the man repair my bike tomorrow. Okay, I will have what? Somebody do something. I will have the man. I have a particular person in my mind. I will have the man repair my bike. Repair, verb in the base form, bare infinitive. I will have the man do something. Repair what? My bike tomorrow. Okay. My father had me pick up the guests from the station. My father had me do something. My father had me pick up the guests from the station. Okay, another example. I will have Sneha show you the campus. I will have Sneha show you the campus. I'll ask her to do this, right? And she'll not say no to me. She's not going to do that, okay? We had him paint all the walls. We had him paint all the walls. We asked him, or we instructed him to do this, and he didn't have much of a choice. He did it. Okay, so this is how we use have. And if you want to focus on the activity that the person does for you, you don't want to focus on the person who does the action for you or somebody else, you'll use the passive form. All right, the action is going to be in the passive form. All right, the action that the person does for you is going to be in the passive form, and here's the structure. First comes the subject of the sentence, then the causative verb, right? Have, can be in any tense form, followed by the object of the verb that the person does for you. All right, object that the person acts upon, followed by the verb, past participle, followed by the person that performs that action. This is absolutely optional. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to add the doer of the action. Let me show you an example and make you understand. Active voice. Let's look at this example. I will have the man repair my bike tomorrow. I will have somebody do something. So we have the person. I will have the man do something, repair what? My bike when tomorrow. Now, I don't want to focus on the person who will be doing the action. I just want to focus on what he is going to act upon. So I'll use the passive structure. I will have my bike repaired tomorrow. I will have my bike repaired tomorrow, and it is obvious that somebody is going to do it, but I don't want to focus on the person who's going to perform this action because that is not important, right? That is not important. The focus here is the object that is going to be worked on, that is going to be acted upon, and that is my bike. I will have my bike repaired tomorrow. Obviously somebody is going to do it. I can say I will have my bike repaired tomorrow by the man or by you or somebody else, but I don't want to do that. Passive structure. Let's take more examples. I will have my hair cut in the evening. I will have my hair cut in the evening. So I'll ask somebody or instruct somebody. Actually, I'll pay somebody to do this. All right, so the person is going to be paid. I will have my hair cut. So cut here is in the third form, right? Past participle of cut. Okay, I will have my hair cut in the evening. If I want to add the doer of the action that performs this action, I can do that. I can say I will have my hair cut in the evening by Rohan, by him, by her, by you, right? Another example, we will have your assignment checked. We will have your assignment checked. Somebody's going to do that, but that's not important. The person who will do this action is not important, but the thing that is going to be acted upon is important, and that is your assignment. We will have your assignment checked. We will have the object of the action, right? Your assignment, then the verb in the past form, past participle, checked, right? We will have your assignment checked by my brother or by your brother or by a teacher or by a professional, right? Something like that. That is how we use have. Okay, now the next verb, the next causative verb is get. Get as a causative verb means to convince or coax, right? Lure or encourage or trick somebody into doing something. All right. So you convince, when you get somebody to do something, you convince or you encourage or you coax the person to do the action, or you trick the person into doing something. Let's take some examples and understand this, and before looking at the examples, let's look at the structure. Very simple. First comes the subject followed by the causative verb, that is get, can be in any tense form. All right, followed by the person that performs the action for you or somebody else, followed by the verb that is in the base form, bare infinitive. Okay, now let's look at some examples. Example number 1. They got me to write content for their website. They got me. They got somebody do something. They got me to do something. They got me to write content for their website. So they convinced me, right? They called me and said, hey, we want you to write some content for our website. And I said, I don't have much time, man. I'm sorry, I will not be able to do that. And they said, no, it's really good, and if you do this for us, we can do a lot of things for you. So after the end of the call, I was convinced. I thought, yeah, it can be a good thing. So I got ready to, do that. So they convinced me. They got me to write content for their website. They got me to do something, to write content for their website. I got him to sign the papers. Now the property is yours. I got him. I convinced him. He was not going to sign the papers initially, but I made him, not forced him. I coaxed him or convinced him or tricked him into signing the papers. I got him to sign the papers. Now the property is yours. Another example, you should get your younger brother to handle your social media accounts. You should. You're using a modal verb should. You should or you can get your younger brother to handle your social media accounts, right? Get somebody to do something. Get your younger brother followed by an infinitive, right? To handle your social media accounts. Another example, how do you get her to cook food for you? She never cooks for us. How do you get her? How do you convince her to cook food for you? Because she never cooks for us. How do you do that? Okay. Now, if you want to focus on the action that the person does, the object that he or she acts upon, you don't want to focus on the person, you're going to use the passive structure. And here's the structure. First comes the subject, followed by the causative verb, can be in any tense form, we already know this, followed by the object that the action is acted upon, not the person who performs the action, the object, the thing that is acted upon by the person, followed by the verb, and the verb is going to be in the past participle, third form, followed by the person if you want to add the person, right? But that is absolutely optional. Let's look at some examples. Example number one, in the active voice, I got him to sign the papers. The very first example, I got him to sign the papers. Now the property is yours. I got him to sign the papers. Now, if you do not want to focus on the person who performed the action for you, you just want to focus on what the person did for you, you're going to use the passive structure and you're going to say, I got the papers signed yesterday, or I got the papers signed. Okay. I got what he did. He signed what? The papers, right? So the papers is the object of the verb that he performed, all right, that he did, the papers. I got the papers signed, the verb in the past participle, third form. I got the papers signed. If you want to add the doer of the action, you can say by him. Cool. More examples. John got your laptop repaired. All right, John got your laptop repaired. It doesn't matter who repaired your laptop, but he got your laptop repaired. John got him to repair your laptop. Doesn't matter who did it. John got your laptop repaired. Another example. How did you get him hired? How did you get him hired? Obviously, somebody must have hired him, but that's not important who did the action, right? How did you get him hired? How did this action happen? This is what's important to you, right? So that is how we use the verb get. Now, another verb that can be used as a causative verb, that is a semi-causative verb, right? So the verb is help. Help doesn't exactly cause somebody to do something, but it does aid, it does help or supports the person in doing the action, all right? So technically we can call it a semi-causative verb, right? It's not literally a causative verb. It doesn't cause somebody to do something, but it does aid, right? Support somebody in doing something, okay? So it means to aid somebody. Aid means to support, right? To aid somebody in doing something. And here's the structure. First comes the subject, followed by the causative, semi-causative, my bad. Okay, let's call it semi-causative. Help, and it can be in any tense form, followed by the object, that is the person. Okay, followed by the bare infinitive, the verb in the base form. Let's look at some examples. And before we look at the examples, the verb can be in the base form and you can use the infinitive too as well, right? Either way is fine. Let's look at some examples now. I helped him to write the report, or I helped him write the report. Both are absolutely fine. I helped a person to do something. I helped him, or I helped Rahul to write the report. But I didn't cause the action. I just supported. I aided. All right. I supported. I helped the person in doing the action. Right. I didn't cause the action. Okay. More examples. She never helps me prepare breakfast. She never helps me to prepare breakfast or prepare breakfast. Johnny helped him solve this matter. Johnny helped him, right? Aided the person do something, solve the matter, or to solve this matter. That is how we use the semi causative help. All right. Now, some other verbs that are causative verbs. All right. These are force, pressurize, require, convince, coax, and persuade. Force to make somebody do something forcefully in a forceful manner. Pressurize again to make somebody do something by putting a lot of pressure on the person. All right. Require to make somebody do something. And you do this because it's a part of the process, right? You're not literally forcing the person, but it's a part of the process, and the person has to go through it, has to do something. Convince, easy to get somebody to do something by convincing the person. Coax or persuade, to get someone to do something by being kind, nice, gentle, and persistent, or to at least appear to be doing it. All right. The person thinks that you are being kind, gentle, and persistent. All right. Here we have, all right, here we have some examples on the screen. He forced me drink that slimy thing. He forced me do something. He forced me drink that slimy thing. They pressurized us to leave the job. They pressurized us to do something. They pressurized us to leave the job. This job requires us to be good at coding. This job requires, demands, or requires us. Demands is another causative verb. Demands us to be good at coding. She convinced me to wear that jacket. She convinced, right? Convinced me to wear the jacket. His friends coaxed or persuaded us to come with them. Coaxed, right? Or persuaded, convinced us to come with them. All right. But the main causative verbs are make, let, have, and get. I hope now you're feeling confident about this topic. I hope now you know how to use these verbs, what causative verbs are, how to use them, when to use them, when not to use them. I hope everything is clear. That's all from my side, guys. If you enjoyed this lesson, give it a thumbs up. If you have any question, any doubts, do let me know in the comment section below. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do that. Subscribe to the channel, press that notification button as well, so that every single time I publish a lesson, you get notified and you don't have to search the lesson, right? You get to watch it right away. And I'll see you guys very soon. Till then, keep learning, have fun. I'm out now, Namaskar.